Check in. Gotta check in. Gotta
Straight
check
like that.
I can't stress it. Gotta check in.
No question.
Know what we made. Gotta check in.
No question
It's your
about
boy
that.
Cash Detroit, man. We get busy out here.
No toes, no easy path.
The Purple Boys.
Yeah,
So
man
far,
can't
stay
help
below.
either.
Yesterday, right after a federal grand jury returned his indictment, federal agents arrested Corey Hamlet, the leader of the Grape Street Crips, along with 3 other alleged gang members.
Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the stories of some of the most notorious gang leaders who have terrorized communities across the United States. From Corey Hamlet of the Grape Street Crips in Newark to Earl Burnett of the Bloods in Trenton, Vincent Young of the Fruit Town and Brick City Brims, and finally Bayshine Leary of the Gangster Killer Bloods. These individuals have led violent and destructive lives, leaving a trail of crime and chaos in their wake. Let's explore their rise to power, their criminal activities, and their ultimate downfall. Today, we're diving into the story of some of Trenton's most notorious Blood Street gang members who are now beginning to serve time in state prison. These gang members, part of the violent 79 trace set, have been involved in a range of illegal activities including firearms trafficking, drug distribution, and promoting violence over a span of 5 years. Earl Burnett, the 29-year-old leader of the 79 trace set of the Bloods, and his underling, 35-year-old Doris Jackson, have both received hefty prison sentences earlier this month for their roles in this violent racketeering organization. They were among the 20 defendants indicted in April 2014 on charges related to racketeering and gang criminality. Their investigation uncovered the illicit activities of the 793 Bloods set, led by Burnett, which included attempted murder, robbery, burglary, witness tampering, drug distribution, and the unlawful transport of firearms from October 2008 to April 2013. Each of the indicted gang members was accused of participating in these criminal activities to gain money and power for the Bloods enterprise. Prosecutors noted that most of the defendants charged in the indictment were already in custody for underlying offenses. Earl Burnett, initially indicted on first-degree racketeering, gang criminality, and promoting organized street crime, Burnett pleaded guilty last month to a single count of first-degree racketeering. On November 17, he received a 12-year prison sentence. Burnett must serve 85% of his sentence before becoming eligible for parole. After serving his time, he will be under 5 years of parole supervision, as ordered by Mercer County Superior Court Judge Robert Billmeyer. Burnett has a prior criminal history and received 1,836 days of jail credit for being locked up from November 7, 2012 to November 16, 2017. This story is a stark reminder of the persistent and dangerous nature of gang activity in our communities. The 79 trace set of the Bloods, under Burnett's leadership, terrorized Trenton for years. Japet Lopez, aka King Japet, 33, of Newark, and another ring member have pleaded guilty today before Superior Court Judge Nancy C. Villey in Essex County. Japet Lopez, who controlled the racketeering enterprise, faces a recommended sentence of 15 years in state prison, including 7 years of parole ineligibility. Japet and Keel Lopez held top leadership positions in the Newark chapter of the Almighty Latin King and Queen Nation Street Gang. Japet Lopez was the Latin King's second crown or cacique, and was a former third crown or warlord, acting as head of security. Colonel Patrick Callahan, acting superintendent of the New Jersey State Police, said, "The leaders of this Latin King's gang were so cold and ruthless. They viciously beat their own members who fell out of line and were willing to kill to defend their drug-dealing turf." Japet Lopez, Keel Lopez, Carlos Rodriguez, and 3 other men, Justin Rodriguez, Israel Carreras, and Julio Benabi, were charged in connection with the criminal restraint and attempted armed robbery of a member of a rival gang, the Notorious. They allegedly dragged the victim into the basement of an apartment building at 223 Mount Prospect Avenue in northern Newark, the stronghold for the Latin Kings, where they restrained and beat him. During the incident, Luis Alaquin, a Latin Kings gang member, was shot and killed in a stairwell by individuals suspected to be associates of the robbery victim who came looking for him. the victim managed to escape through a back door when shots rang out. During the investigation, surveillance captured sales of hundreds of waxfuls of heroin and crack cocaine by members of the drug ring at 223 Mount Prospect Avenue. Additional surveillance at May 38th Street, where Japet Lopez lived with his girlfriend Yuritsa Perez, also charged, captured sales of hundreds of vials of drugs. Search warrants executed at these locations and other residences of gang members led to the seizure of 4 handguns, including 2 defaced guns, drugs and copies of the Latin Kings Manifesto and other gang literature and paraphernalia. This story highlights the persistent and dangerous influence of the Latin Kings in Newark and the tireless efforts of law enforcement to dismantle these criminal enterprises. Today, we're diving into the shocking and violent end of Bayshine Leary, a former leader of the Bloods gang in Trenton, New Jersey. Leary was shot dead by a casino security guard in Florida after he randomly opened fire inside the gambling hall. Let's get into the details of this dramatic and deadly incident. Bayshine Leary, 42, met his end at about 3 a.m. on Saturday at the Q-Time 777 in Lake City, Florida, located about an hour west of Jacksonville. Authorities reported that Leary was involved in a dispute at the casino. After being asked to leave, he initially complied but returned shortly after with a firearm. Witnesses told investigators that Leary pointed his gun at a woman inside the casino and attempted to shoot her at point-blank range. Fortunately, the gun malfunctioned. In a fit of rage, he began firing randomly throughout the casino. A security guard quickly engaged him, leading to an exchange of gunfire. Leary was the only person hit and died at the scene. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office is investigating the involvement of a second person who was with Leary at the time. Leary had a Lake City address, but it's unclear how long he had been in Florida. The Sheriff's Office confirmed they had no prior contact with him. Leary's past is riddled with violence and crime. In the mid-2000s, during a time of rampant gang violence in Trenton, Leary was a leader of the Gangster Killer Bloods, also known as G-Shine. His criminal record includes a 2005 incident where he was tangentially involved in a shooting aboard an NJ Transit bus in Trenton. This attack wounded a rival gang member and a 12-year-old girl from Hamilton. Leary was arrested the day after the shooting with Leon Butta McClendon, the actual shooter, and claimed ownership of the 9mm gun used in the crime. He later pleaded guilty to a firearm charge and was sentenced to 7 years in prison. After serving his sentence, Leary's violent streak continued. In 2012, he shot a man in Trenton and was sentenced to another 5 years in prison, being released in May 2016. Later that year, state parole officers charged him with possessing a firearm in his home during a mandated visit. This tragic end to Bayshine Leary's life is a stark reminder of the relentless violence associated with gang activity. From his days as a gang leader in Trenton to his violent demise in a Florida casino, Leary's story is a testament to the destructive path of gang involvement. Vincent Young, the notorious leader of the Fruittown and Brick City Brims, a violent subset of the Blood Street Gang. Young's journey from Los Angeles to New Jersey and his control over the gang both inside and outside prison is a tale of power, crime, and ultimate downfall. In the early 1970s, the Bloods gang was formed in Los Angeles, California. Over time, the Bloods expanded beyond LA, creating subgroups or sets identified by specific streets, neighborhoods, or areas. One of these sets, known as the Fruittown Brims, or FTB, was established in Los Angeles. Vincent Young, a member of this set, played a significant role in its expansion. In 1993, Young traveled to New Jersey, where he killed someone he believed threatened the Bloods. Convicted of aggravated manslaughter, he was sentenced to a New Jersey state prison term. While incarcerated at East Jersey State Prison in Rahway, Young founded and led a New Jersey-based set of the Fruittown Brims. After being transferred to Northern State Prison in Newark, he recruited fellow inmates, including El Tariq Gums, to join his set. Gums, from Essex County, New Jersey, was promoted by Young to a leadership position. By 1999, Gums received permission from Young to start a subset called the Brick City Brims, which operated primarily in Essex County. Despite Gums' leadership, Young maintained control over this subset, enforcing strict protocols and demanding loyalty and financial support from its members. Initially, the Fruittown and Brick City Brims operated primarily within New Jersey prisons. However, as members were released, they established operations and engaged in criminal activities across New Jersey, including Jersey City, Newark, and Paterson. Even as the gang expanded outside of prison, Young and Gums continued to control their operations from behind bars. Vincent Young, now 42, stood in shackles before a federal judge in Newark, apologizing to the many victims harmed by his gang's crimes. Entering the courtroom surrounded by U.S. Marshals, Young made it clear that he had been the highest-ranking member of the Fruittown and Brick City Brims set for much longer than prosecutors had alleged. He proudly declared, "In '94, I was already Triple OG," referring to his title, Triple Original Gangster, among gang members and associates who both feared and revered him. While pleading guilty to an extensive racketeering conspiracy, Young admitted to leading the gang set using strict West Coast principles. He ordered the slayings of members who cooperated with authorities, tagging them as food, despite his claims of maturity and his argument that he wouldn't be a risk to reoffend. District Judge Stanley R. Chesler sentenced him to 188 months in prison. The judge's primary concern was that Young conducted the racketeering enterprise while already serving time in state prison. According to U.S. Attorney Paul J. Fishman, Young was the lead defendant in a 52-page indictment from January 2011, which included 14 other reputed members of the Fruittown and Brick City Brims. The indictment alleged that Young directed gang members and associates, both in and out of prison, in committing various crimes, including murder, kidnapping, aggravated assault, robbery, bribery, extortion, drug trafficking, and witness intimidation. Vincent Young pleaded guilty to conspiracy to violate the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, admitting to distributing drugs. All 15 indicted defendants have pleaded guilty. This story of Vincent Young is a stark reminder of the dangerous influence of gang leaders and the extensive efforts required to bring them to justice. His tale of power and control from behind bars highlights the ongoing battle against organized crime.
Check in. Gotta check in. Gotta
Straight
check
like that.
I can't stress it. Gotta check in.
No question.
Know what we mean. Gotta check in.
No question
It's your
about
boy
that.
Cash Detroit, man. We get busy out here.
No toes, no easy path.
The Purple
Like
Boys.
that.
Your
So
bad
I
can't
stay
help
below.
you either. Your bad can't help you.
Yesterday, right after a federal grand jury returned his indictment, federal agents arrested Corey Hamlet, the leader of the Grape Street Crips, along with 3 other alleged gang members. The indictment, which has 28 counts, charges Hamlet with conspiracy to commit racketeering, violent crimes in aid of racketeering, drug trafficking, and other crimes.
This your boy Cash Detroit. Baby Loop. 103rd. Jordan down. We got a message. We Jersey. We got an issue for you, Chief.
I got an issue for you. You disrespect my block, all headshots. I ain't playing with you. South over Sosa, shoot on sight.
Now everybody know what it is. Woo-hoo! That's what we do.
Today, we're exploring the incredible story of Cory Hamlet, also known as C. Blaze, Blaze, Blizzy, and Castor Troy. At 41, this longtime leader of the Grape Street Crips in Newark, New Jersey, has finally faced justice. Sentenced to 2 concurrent life terms in prison, Hamlet's criminal reign involved 6 murders, an attempted murder, drug trafficking, and firearms offenses, all part of a larger racketeering conspiracy. Cory Hamlet, from Bullville, New Jersey, was convicted in July 2018 after a 2-month trial. District Judge Madeline Cox Arleo handed down the sentence, marking the end of an era for one of Newark's most violent street gangs. Hamlet's journey to this point began in November 2016, when he was charged in a 22-count indictment. This massive case targeted 14 members and associates of the Grape Street Crips, accusing them of 7 murders, numerous attempted murders, and other violent and drug trafficking crimes. 12 of the 14 defendants have been convicted, with 2 still awaiting trial. But the story doesn't end there. Back in May 2015, a coordinated takedown resulted in the arrest of 68 members and associates of the Grape Street Crips. These individuals faced charges of drug trafficking, physical assaults, and witness intimidation. Out of those 68, 66 have been convicted, with charges still pending against 2. U.S. Attorney Craig Carpenito announced, "Today's sentencing marks the end of Cory Hamlet's reign of terror on the streets of Newark." Nearly 70 members of this violent criminal organization have been removed from the streets, making Newark a safer place. Special Agent in Charge Gregory W. Airy of the Newark FBI added, "Cory Hamlet chose to order others to kill, and now he can serve time for the gang. This conduct will not be tolerated, and today's sentence should send a message that we will pursue and prosecute members of violent street gangs." The DA's Special Agent in Charge, Valerie A. Nickerson, emphasized, "The sentencing of Cory Hamlet closes the chapter on one of Newark's most violent offenders. Residents can be confident that law enforcement will continue to pursue those who choose to violate the rule of law." So, what exactly did Cory Hamlet and the Grape Street Crips do? For years, they engaged in murder, robbery, extortion, and drug trafficking throughout Newark. Hamlet's orders alone resulted in 6 murders. The trial revealed numerous violent acts, some targeting rival gang members and others aimed at Grape Street Crips members Hamlet saw as threats. One such story involves a long-running dispute between Hamlet and rival Almalik Anderson. After an attempted truce at Short Hills Mall, Hamlet used Instagram to accuse Anderson of cooperating with law enforcement. Following Hamlet's orders, 4 gang members then ambushed Anderson's car, nearly killing him and his passenger. But Hamlet's vengeance didn't stop there. He ordered the murder of Anwar West, the gang member who had tried to broker peace. Co-defendant Rashin Washington left West alone in a Jeep Cherokee, knowing another gang member would shoot West in the head. Hamlet also targeted Maurice Green, Anderson's brother. On March 3, 2014, Hamlet, riding in a Jeep Cherokee, aimed a firearm at Green but missed the opportunity to shoot. Soon after, a car chase ensued, ending in a deadly crash. Shots fired from the Jeep Cherokee killed Green's passenger, Wesley Childs, and an innocent bystander, Velma Coutinho. Cory Hamlet's story is a stark reminder of the violent realities of gang life and the relentless efforts of law enforcement to bring criminals to justice. His conviction and life sentences highlight the devastating impact of gang violence on communities. These stories of Cory Hamlet, Earl Burnett, Vincent Young, and Bayshine Leary are stark reminders of the destructive impacts of gang violence on our communities. Despite their power and influence, each of these men ultimately faced justice, their criminal empires dismantled by the relentless efforts of law enforcement. Their tales serve as cautionary examples of how the pursuit of power through crime leads only to downfall and despair. As we reflect on their stories, we must recognize the ongoing efforts needed to combat the pervasive influence of gang activity and protect our communities from their devastating effects. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.